Hello everyone, this is Lily the Deck Harlot, and today I am doing a video response to Miss Kelly Bear's Top 5 Decks I Can't Live Without, version 2019. Now, I'm going to start by saying that my first top deck that I can't live without, and basically it's because finally getting around to using this deck was what pushed me into understanding how the tarot works. And it's none other than the Waite Smith. So, just a plain yellow box. I also have, a mini version. But this deck is a classic, and it's a classic because it works. So, I know the colors are harsh. When I first started reading tarot cards 25 years ago, I hated it. And I've actually resisted for a long time to look at it. Although at some point I did buy the Universal Waite Tarot by Hanson Roberts. I forget her first name. And when I finally took a class and the teacher basically insisted we use this one, I finally could understand why. A lot of the version of decks we find today, most of them have the lines redrawn, and somehow it loses something in the translation. Now, it's not all decks, but one in particular that I find, messes up the meaning is the Radiant Waite. One that doesn't is the Centennial, which I have in my collection somewhere. So, yep, good old Waite is a deck that I often reach for if I have to do a reading and I want to be serious about it. The other deck that I started using this year when I started learning the Marseille Tarot, and this is the CBD Tarot. And right now, when I use it, I've been limiting myself to the major arcana. I like the colors. I like that, they're crisp. The lines are crisp. You can tell what it is. They're not fluid. And, that is a classic as well. So, and, I like the bright colors. So, this is the CBD. The third deck I can't live without is, and it's a new acquisition from this year, and it's the Dark Mansion Tarot. This is a cheeky little deck, and although I'm not into Gothic, I fell in love with this deck. Although I have to say the cardstock feels plasticky to me, and I find that sometimes when I shuffle or draw cards, for some reason they tend to stick. But I've been using this as my daily draw, and the details, there's a lot of detail that draw me in, and it's reminiscent of Tim Burton's movies. So, it's Waite clone for the most part. But this is my card today. No, this is my card for September. The Hermit. Ten of Swords. And, with Halloween coming up, this is the season to be using it. Although since I got it in the spring, I have been using it ever since. So that is the Dark Mansion Tarot. Now, another deck number 4 of decks that I can't live without. And I've had this deck for a long time, although I have to admit I do not work a lot with it. And it is the Voyager Tarot. This is another deck that is classic. It's been around for a long time. And I don't use it much for reading. It's more for taking it out and, you know, using it for meditation and looking at the imagery. And it's one of those decks I find will exercise your intuition. The thing about this deck is the images are really busy. Sometimes it's hard to find the symbols. And in fact, when I attended the Reader Studio this year, the study work group that I participated in, the teacher of the class had cut off all the borders, so you couldn't see the sun. I mean, you couldn't see the what the card was, you know, or the word, and he had us look at those cards and try and determine what they were, like what part of the deck they were. He did tell us that it was the Voyager, and for the life of me, most of those cards I couldn't tell them apart. And but yeah, it's and actually, you know what? This is one of those things too, is I particularly don't like collage decks, but I like this one. And I'm not sure if it's because the cards are so busy. So, just the last one. Here's the Hangman. And then, one of my last decks that are in my top 5. And I don't have a box for this one, but it's the Raven Prophecy Tarot. I like this deck because of the simplicity of the images. It's like the author, the designer, brought it down to, you know, its most basic meaning. And I just like the art. You know, it's the messages are on point when I read with this deck. And it's another one that's probably good for this time of year. And I have read the guidebook for this deck, but I haven't read the books, like the fiction books. This is, I think, one of my favorite cards in the deck. Five of Cups. And there you have it. Those are my top 5 decks. And I know everybody's been doing these videos for a while now, but I just thought I'd add mine to the mix. So I'm going to wish you a good day, and until next time.